Hello, my name is John and today on Mono Story we're going to be talking about the concept of anime tourists. So let's get into it and find out what it's all about.
Today we're going through 100 years of anime history,
ranking the most popular anime from each year to decide once and for all
the best anime of the century!
These, ladies and gentlemen, are what we call anime tourists.
Now, an anime tourist is someone who has recently gone into anime in the past 5 to 10 years, specifically during COVID when there was not a lot to do. During this time, these new anime viewers watched a lot of flashy, big fights and shonen-esque anime that perceived that all anime should have this high quality of animation, action, and it doesn't really need to contain as much story. A little story is enough. Where in a lot of past anime, especially in the older generations, we're talking especially during the Showa era, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, around that time, lots of anime relied heavily upon the story and the characters as animation was very lackluster due to the time. But during that time, that anime was the highest quality it could possibly be. And even in some cases where the art style was pushed to its limits and the limitations, it still created anime to this day that holds up against current anime with advanced technology. Now, this controversy with anime tourists all began with these people known as the anime men, a group of 6 individuals who create content revolving around anime. And the issue that many people had was with their newly released video where they critiqued and analysed anime from 1961 to 2025. And during this video, they made a lot of statements that not only disrespected anime, but disrespected the objective of what analysis and critiquing is. And the reason why people are all angry with this situation is because in most of these cases, the specific animes that they said were good were newer anime, and the older anime were all considered to be F, D, or C tier, meaning that these older anime were shunned or frowned upon by these people known as the anime men. However, for lots of different people, these anime were not only the cornerstone, but their entry point into the anime genre. And it's what built not only their childhood, but their understanding of what anime is today. And it's the main reason why people dislike or do not like anime tourists in the anime space, because they do not respect the genre and they do not respect all the beautiful things about anime. They are just here to grift, make money, and LARP like they've watched anime for most, if not all, of their life, when in reality they probably didn't like it or they thought it was boring in the past. However, because they are now grifters or people who want to make some form of money, they are using anime as that gateway to improve or make themselves more popular in a space that they originally did not like or did not care about.
Who with a tail? I've never seen that before.
This group of people, like all tourists, have little to no respect for what came before they took an interest into the hobby, and they demand that it conforms to their stringent worldviews.
The main reason anime tourists are a problem within the community is that they have a high tendency to spread misinformation. This means that they have an inability to explain something to its correct effectiveness. So an example of this would be when they were watching Tetsuwan Atom, the 1960 anime of what is known as Astro Boy, and they do not explain effectively why they would put it in an F tier other than they thought it was bad. And so this lack of understanding of what is happening within the story and explaining it to us tells us that they are unable to comprehend why a story is good in the first place. And on top of that, because of the lacking animation during that time, the individuals are unable to enjoy what makes these anime beautiful, and that is their story and characters, because we understand that if we watch something in the past, that it will have a lower quality of animation. But that doesn't mean it's a bad story or bad show, rather the exact opposite. It requires heavily upon its story and its characters, making it a well-rounded, defined show or anime. In addition, if you give a poor understanding to why you have given a critique or analysis to be of F tier or of S tier, then it doesn't really make the tier list that you made have any sort of quantifiable value, and it makes you sound like you do not really understand why you watch or enjoy anime. It isn't a hard concept to explain something within an anime or manga series. There is a lot of things that are happening within that story that you are able to talk about. So just giving basic level things is enough to start off when explaining these things, especially when you are defining that this is explaining the first episode of each year's series. If you were able to talk about, let's say, the characters, the story, the conflicts, the thought processes of characters, even the ideas of what is in the story, let's say even MacGuffins, or in the case of being a mecha, talk about the mechs. In the case of being a fighting show or anime, talk about the style that they're using. Are they using chakra? Are they using chi? What is happening for me to want to go watch that show or anime? That is the objective of the content you are making. If you cannot define to me anything about what you have just seen, then it tells me you either didn't watch it, you don't care about it, or you would rather be on your phone the whole goddamn time, okay? And then when you make off-cuff statements as jokes, they're not funny because you haven't defined to me why I should enjoy this anime.
Yasha! Look, the fight scenes look good, but it's in Spanish only, so only I'm gonna understand it.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest with the show, like after watching all these shows, I was already super exhausted from watching anime, and this came on, and it was in freaking Spanish, so I couldn't even understand it. When I watched it, it was garbage. I'm being honest. I'm gonna put it in D tier.
What made you think you can make a video like this? I'm sorry, but this is pretty much telling everybody you have no idea about the culture that you make a living off of.
Now, recently, the anime men have made an apology over the situation that they have caused in the larger anime space, including many anitubers who have called them out.
Putting these classic anime into the F tier, and that is a common theme for the 1960s and really anything before the year 2000 for them. They pretty much throw everything into the F tier, including some of the most inspirational and foundational anime.
These are the fundamental, these are the building blocks. These have been the cornerstones that so many animes in the future would have built their houses on.
They don't respect what comes before it. They do a lot of things that just piss off a lot of people.
The way that they had apologized was not only taking accountability for their actions, but analyzing the anime that they originally said was F tier, D tier, C tier, a lot of these older anime, and fully diving into these anime to critique and analyze what these anime were all about. And in my opinion, especially with my understanding of what Gundam 0079, or better known as the 1 Year War, it was, I believed, critiqued effectively to improve people's understanding on a basic level what Gundam is to the wider community of anime viewers who have maybe not seen Gundam or do not understand the concept, because Gundam is a big series. It has lots of things happening. It has an in-universe history of about 150 years, and we're talking things about MS units, for example. So a Gundam is a type of MS unit, and the thing about Gundam is that in the 150 years of in-law history, these MS units improve to a higher level each time a new series is created. So if you look at, let's say, Gundam 0079 or the 1 Year War, and you compare that to Gundam Unicorn or F91, there's a whole different MS unit system that is being used in that story that is a build upon the original Gundam RX-78, which is the in Gundam 0079. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it's one of my best ways to analyze whether this have analysed the anime effectively. And in my opinion, again, going back to what I said, yes, it was done very well, I'd say. Now, the issue I do have, and I always have this with Gundam analysis, if you're going to look at the 1 Year War, where is my Shah talk? There was no Shah talk. If you're going to talk about deep diving, you have to talk about Shah's character from where it started and where it ended, okay? Because the flip of his character, especially when he's versing Gamma and telling us where Shah came from, it's not a story about the white base. It's a story about Shah. That's what makes Gundam 0079 or the 1 Year War the best thing. I understand it's about Zeon versus the Federation. I get your point. But that is what makes Gundam. So, going back to what the anime men said about it, it was an effective dive, even though there was no Shah. But will I accept their apology? And the answer is yes, because I believe all people have the right to make up for what they have done. I believe there is too much hate in the world, and we need enough understanding that people will make mistakes. Now that we know the situation in regards to anime tourists, what do we need to do as either individuals, as other groups, to stop ourselves from falling victim to these individuals? The first thing we have to understand is these individuals will always exist. Money is always available, and therefore people will always want to take it. That is how reality works. If there's money, there'll be people who don't understand anything of that job or field, but will do it for the money. So we have to understand that there'll be people within this community with the sole objective of making money, and therefore destroying everything that we as individuals love about anime. Or it could be another person from another genre or another topic doing the exact same thing. It's always going to happen. So the way that we have to start dealing with this is we need to educate ourselves. That's the sole objective. If you want to stop watching bad content, you educate yourself. That's why people click off the video, because they've educated themselves enough to know that the person that is speaking is unable to critique or analyze effectively, therefore it is a waste of time. The only reason why people watched the Anime Men video was because they wanted to know what they thought so that they could make complaints and understanding and explain why they were wrong. And that is the only reason. If they had poor production value or the quality of the video was very poor, they wouldn't even have bothered. They would have just clicked off the video. So now, what content do we need to consume, or is, in my opinion, better, that will make you understand anime effectively? Even if you haven't seen it initially, but you are interested in it, and you need to know, hey, look, should I spend my time watching this anime or that anime? And I watched a few videos here and there to understand what would be good recommendations. And first, I've always loved the Mother's Basement. Great channel, does a lot of good analysis, deep analysis. And another one is Bonsai Pop. I've watched most of their Gundam analysis and I do enjoy it. It's a lot more deeper than whatever the Anime Men just made. So go watch that. I also want to show you what you need to do to educate yourself, because the Anime Men did a video on the first episode and it was terrible, but you can do it correctly. And so there is a channel called Glass Reflection.
What is shonen? Or rather, why is shonen?
I don't know why it's still highly rated. Like, it has a lot of subscribers and views, but compared to other channels, it doesn't seem like it gets a lot of views. So this channel is something I might go back to every 6 to 12 months, because he only posts a video once a month by the looks of it. And he posts a video 9-10 months ago, as of recording this video, where he analyzed the first episode of an anime and compared them together and gave an insight and detail in comparison to what I believe was the rest of the series. So this way of education told me that when I watched the Anime Men video, I already knew watching it that it was poorly done and executed, because I've already seen a well created video with effective and efficient criticism of the way that the Anime Men did it, but with better analysis and critique, which informed me and told me how I should view the first episode compared to the rest of the series. And that is very good because that is what we need to be doing. Educating ourselves on the correct content so that when we view slop, we know it's slop.
People that are just like 15 was not enough. I should have done 50. And sure, maybe I should have. But we didn't do that. So too bad, maybe next time.
And look, that's my take on an anime tourist. And so these people are always going to be out there ruining anime through the way that they perceive it. And the only way we can get better is if we educate ourselves and indulge in anime. And at the end of the day, just turn it off, because people that understand what the community is all about and understand what anime is all about will make content regardless of the money and regardless of the views and regardless of what people think. Because if you are making good content, then everyone will enjoy it. And the people that don't are generally people who are anime tourists. But I want to hear what your thoughts are on anime tourists, so please write them down in the comments section below. This is John from Mono Story. If you haven't already liked, subscribed and pressed the bell button, please do so. And until next time, I will see you on another Mono Story.